Serie A World.
Hello, you alright?
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed, shall we say, by the European results. Even though we had 5 wins out of 8, it didn't feel like it. The performances, I think, from all the teams were poor. I mean, probably could have a little bit of a case for Milan, but I mean they still conceded against 10 men. But I mean, do you want to quickly run through the results and then talk about it?
Yeah, go on then.
I'll go backwards from the conference. So Fiorentina won 4-2 at St. Gallen. Roma beat Dynamo Kiev 1-0. Lazio, who I said I didn't know who S.A.W were, I didn't know. It turns out they're actually 20, and that's another name for them. They beat them 2-0. Again, 20 had 10 men. Milan 3-1 against Bruges, and then Juve lost 1-0 to Stuttgart at home as well. Villa beat Bologna 2-0, and then Atalanta drew 0-0 with Celtic, and Inter just about scraped a 1-0 win against Young Boys. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, what have you got to say about it?
Well, I watched a few of those, and yeah, you'll remember what I said to you before some of them. Very ambitious and optimistic. I was saying, I was giving you high scores, wasn't I?
Yeah, but this is it. This is what I was saying. This is why I never like talking about really games beforehand in the sense of results, because it's all what happens on the day. And I think this week has been one of the worst weeks of performances I've seen from all teams altogether.
The thing is, though, you should be able to predict this stuff. I mean, if you're looking in Serie A, for example, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about the top teams. Generally, they'll win against, say, a smaller relegation candidate or a mid-table, wouldn't they? And that's how they end up with the points that they have. So, going by that logic, I mean, are you really saying Young Boys should hold into before the game?
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying I don't trust talking about it before. It's just one of those, I don't know if it's an Italian thing or a thing in general, but just like, you know how I am, and I have been for forever. I don't like talking about it because stuff like that happens and then you're like, okay. We know of a very good example which I don't really want to talk about right now, but do you know what I mean? It's expected considering the teams, but that's what I'm trying to say. Watching them, all of them were playing well below what they would play normally at their top level, what they should be playing at. I mean, there's teams have off days, I understand that, but literally it just felt like all the performances were just so below par. I don't think there was a game really that was worth watching, like overall, even just to watch it properly, like all the way through. It just none of it just felt right. I don't know why. I mean, there were.
I got the same. I was like, this is boring. Sorry. Yeah. I was just thinking, what's going on here? This is not how they play.
Yeah.
And I guess for me the Fiorentina game was interesting because there were goals and levelling up and then going behind and this kind of stuff. But even that should not be happening.
No.
Fiorentina can play much better, should be playing much better. So it was a bit of a poor round all over.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some dodgy decisions in the game, but again, you can't just rely on that. These can't just be because of the ref. It's got to be them stepping up their performances. And I don't know. It was just terrible to watch. That's why I didn't really want to talk too much about it, because it's just, I don't know what to say. I'd say if you did a test like at school and you got 5 out of 8 and 1 half point and then just 2 wrong, it's just that looks decent overall if you're just looking at it like that. But if you look at the actual performances and delve deeper into it, it was just poor for me, very poor. Do you want me to mention the fixtures for starting today for the weekend?
Yeah. Go on.
So tonight, Udinese Cagliari at R5, then Torino Como at 7:45. Saturday we've got Napoli Lecce at 2, Bologna Milan at 5, which I'm not 100% sure if that's still going ahead at that time. I saw that originally they were going to postpone it, but Serie A turned around and said we're not postponing it. They're either going to play behind closed doors in Bologna, or they're going to go to Como and play, or if Bologna don't show up, they have to concede 3 points and a 3-0 loss, is what I saw today. So I'm not 100% sure if what is going to happen with that game. Atalanta Verona 7:45, and then on Sunday, brilliant Sunday to watch. It's going to be Parma Empoli at 11:30, Monza Venezia at 2, Lazio Genoa at 2, Inter Juve at 5, and then Fiorentina Roma at 7:45. Now I'm hoping all these teams, after the midweek where they did rest some players as well, a mix, that they are actually going to just turn up this weekend and give us some good Serie A games to watch. And in particular you want to mention or talk about?
Yeah, for me the main one, big one, is obviously going to be Inter Juve. It's already heated. People talking about the referee, Guida, because of the dodgy game he had with Atletico. So people that, the papers and coaches and everyone's talking about him already.
Putting pressure on him,
So imagine how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But if I had to say who's going to win it, for me, maybe say Juventus. Let's see though.
Well, I mean, after the midweek results on Tuesday and Wednesday, I mean, it's a difficult one for me to call. I mean, as I say, were they more looking forward to that game than the European game? And do you know what I mean? They shouldn't do that. As I say, being a professional football, we shouldn't be doing that anyway, game by game. But in management terms, not risking injuries and stuff, were they looking more towards this game than that? Because for me, I don't know. At the moment, I'm just thinking 1-1 type thing, a draw. But we'll see who turns up on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a massive one all the same. For me, I also wanted to mention the Fiorentina Roma game. I think that's going to be big too. I think there'll be a lot of goals in that game.
Should be an open one. Should be open.
Yeah, so for me, I think Sunday's going to be the game. Game day for me.
Oh yeah, all day. I think all day is just it's a proper Super Sunday, shall we say? But that's the fixtures, and then next week we've got midweek ones. But I mean, we'll talk about that on Monday to say what the midweek fixtures are and what happened with this weekend's results. Anything else you want to mention or talk about before we wrap up?
So I'm seeing that Tim Weir is being used to bring in David.
Okay.
They're saying, I keep seeing a lot of news from different places about this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how true it is. But it seems to be taking momentum.
Let's be honest. Like, if someone's going to move just because of one player, then they're not moving for the right reasons, are they? Do you know what I mean? If he's only going to move to Juve because Way is there, that's the wrong thing to do. Because what if he signs a contract and then Way is sold?
Yeah, I guess he should be moving for the big salary, right? That offering.
Not necessarily that. I'm just saying. For me, they should be going for football terms, as in who the team are, what their ambitions are, and all that stuff. But it's not really the case. It is usually the money side of things. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter what Way or another player that he knows being there, because they're always going to know someone from somewhere, isn't they? I mean, that just sounds like a story they've just made up to just push forward for Juve, because I know that Milan were looking at him and also Inter were looking at him. Now, would he just pick Juve over them just because of Way being there? And as I said, how do you know if the manager's still going to be the same, if the players are still going to be the same next season, all that other stuff, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what can happen is they can, because it's happened in the past. They sell the project to them.
Oh yeah, no, they have to do that. Yeah.
If they're a friend, then obviously believe and that it could be something. So they'll potentially shoot across. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then also I saw. I don't know if you heard it, because I think you were watching the game.
Yeah.
Girona in the game against FC Twente. Yeah, so I think FC Twente might be getting fined or something.
Well, on saying on that, I still think it's ridiculous in the sense of UEFA and FIFA are multi-billion company, aren't they? You've got them, you've got the leagues. Surely it is nothing for them to combine with each league at the top levels I'm on about. I mean, I know it's going to be more difficult in the lower ones, but for the top levels at the very least, to have literally face recognition cameras all over stadiums. And because, I mean, they've got the mics, they pick up the players. I mean, why do we want to know what a player's saying and we don't want to know what the fans are saying if they're doing abuse as well? Do you know what I mean? I don't understand why it's so difficult in an era where we've got all these microphones, even small microphones you could put in everywhere, as well as cameras to ID who's talking and who's saying. Like you've seen on programs where they'll show you someone in a crowd talking, but you can only hear the person talking, like because they're focused on them, and it's just like, well, surely that can happen everywhere in these top leagues. And as soon as someone's if they are being racially abusing these players or anyone, that's it. They should be like fined, jail, whatever. And it's not, let's just ban them from the stadium. Who cares? That's not really punishment, is it? So all these things that like these happening still now, it is ridiculous. I know there are things where they could say they are racially abusing when they're not, but you don't know without having 100% proof of someone, what they've said, what is the context of it and all that. All it is, as they say, allegedly, like you can't tell me in the whole crowd, including all these stewards and all this other stuff, that only a few people heard it or whatever, and that's it. And those people around the people who are being racist, do they just sit down there and just accept it as well? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I really don't now this thing. And I also see about at the moment they're saying about Milan and Inter are now considering purchasing San Siro. I'm actually getting tired of this story at the moment, because at one minute they're just going the area, then they're leaving the area, then they're going to buy together in the area and knock the stadium down and build a new one, then they're going to purchase San Siro. Can't they just deal with it and then just put a story out rather than have every single scenario possible each day like about it? I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Let's see if they do get in trouble. But the other thing that I was looking to mention as well, there's a lot of news coming out of England about Chiesa. They're saying he can't keep up with the training intensity. Maybe he's not cut out for the intensity of the Premier League.
How does that make any sense when, like, even they saw in the Euros and stuff, he was ripping everyone, including England.
Exactly.
So that just sounds like to me that, because I know he got injured again, I just think he's too injury prone, and that's it. It must be he's got a problem, which is the reason Juve were so happy to just even accept that lower fee for him. I know he was on the...
We used to see it, didn't we? We were like, oh, he's not playing, why? And then you look into it and he's injured again.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because when he does play, he puts on a performance, but yeah, they must have known, because I always thought it was weird that they got rid of him like that. Yeah. I was asking you, and I was like, why? What's the deal with that? Because that was the dream move, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know he had a year left of his contract, and I think Motta didn't want him anyway. But I think it would be more down to his record with injuries and stuff, because as you said, when he's on top form, he's like almost impossible to stop, really, isn't it? He run around the players like anything. But the problem is he doesn't play enough, and it's like I don't understand again why. It shows that teams just buy players just because of what their reputation is or who they are, their name and stuff like that, rather than looking into it. Because I know a lot in Serie A, quite a lot of times that they abandon transfers after the medical, because they see things like. I remember there was I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but I remember there was one. I think it was a guy from Porto who was going to go to Milan, and they found, because he had like a toothache or tooth issue, that it would in long term actually equal to a bad back or something. I can't remember the exact terms, but it was, do you know what I mean? They looked so deep into it, they could tell how his injury thing was going to be. I don't even know what worked out with that in the end. I know he didn't go to Milan, but I can't remember what his career was like. But do you know what I mean? You'd think they do look at these histories, but saying that, Milan have gone and done something stupid in the sense of they went and signed Abraham, so I think they don't even do that anymore, who had loads of injury problems at Roma last season, and again he's having them at Milan. He can't even step on the pitch for 1 minute without his shoulder dislocating. So, do you know what I mean? I don't know, I just think they're getting lazier and lazier with everything in football.
It's a strange one. I mean, I personally wouldn't complain too much about having Chiesa in my team, but
no.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues coming out of these injuries.
But again, that pushes for what I was saying before, where I still think, and I know it's never going to happen, footballers should have a basic salary, and then anything else they earn is down to their performances, and that's it. Because if you've got a player, for example like Chiesa, who's probably on a very big wage, if he's never playing and he's just earning that wage, you could say the same for like Neymar and any other injury-prone people who seem to just have injuries all the time, but they're on these massive wages just because of what they've done in the past. And you're just thinking, what is the team gaining from this? Do you know what I mean? Apart from a big wage bill. So, yeah, I don't know. What can I say about that? If he can get himself fit enough, then I think they're having a laugh, because they know they're probably already going to earn double on him, even 20 mil. Do you know what I mean? Even without him playing.
They will, yeah. I mean, I even just saw the latest Arne Slot. He obviously is the boss, isn't he? So he was saying just in general, there's more intensity in the Premier League over Serie A, and Chiesa is struggling to reach our level here in the Premier League, and it's a big disappointment that he's not involved so much in training. And he's like, they've signed a long contract, so that's the only sort of plus where he can change. And this kind of stuff goes quite hard hitting. So,
well, honestly, I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. I think it's more down to either he's unhappy or he's still having problems with injuries. To me, it just makes no sense. But that is what it is. Anything else? Okay. Well, we'll watch this weekend, see what happens, and then we'll come back on Monday and talk about that and go from there. Alright, I'll see you later.